Hey friends, it's Brianna from Brianna's Bookshelf, and welcome to my first ever reading vlog. This week I'm going to be doing a themed reading vlog because I have a lot of dark academia books that are on my immediate TBR currently, and that I also already had planned to be reading in the month of January. So yes, we are going to do a dark academia themed reading vlog. First of all, please excuse the fact that I'm wearing a coat even though I'm inside. My apartment has been so cold this January, it's actually ridiculous. Like, I'm literally wearing 3 layers on top and 2 layers on bottom and like wool socks right now because it's freezing in here and I just really don't get it. But anyhow, a girl's gotta stay warm or else I cannot get anything done at all. Here is the stack of books that we're gonna be trying to read this week. First of all, this one is, I don't know if everyone would call this dark academia, okay? This is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. This is kind of dark academia adjacent, I would argue, and I've already been reading it. I've been reading it for like actually a super long time. Like, I started last fall, I think, and I've just been reading it super slowly because it's very long and pretty dense. Basically, this is following 2 magicians in England in the early 1800s. We have Mr. Norrell is our like OG magician. He is the only practical magician in England at the time. He's the only one who actually completes spells. And I would argue that's dark academia because even though they're not in a school setting, they do a lot of studying and a lot of reading books about magic. So that's my argument for it being dark academia. And I'm getting very close to finishing this, so I think we're going to be finishing it this week anyway, hence why it's going to be included in this vlog. Then we're going to do a little Kindle reading. I have checked out Gothicana by Rue Nix on Kindle Unlimited this week, so I'm going to be including that as well. That is definitely dark academia. It's also a dark romance, I believe, like following a teacher-student relationship in this kind of secretive university setting. I also really want to finally read If We Were Villains by ML Rio. This has been on my TBR forever. It was just on my 25 books for 2025. I've heard this is similar to The Secret History, and that's one of my favorite books of all time. So I'm excited to find out more about it. And finally, we have An Academy for Liars by Alexis Henderson. And this is my special edition version from Evernight, which is Illumicrate's horror quarterly subscription. I'm super excited about this. I've heard it is like a fantasy, dark academia, horror situation. So that combines a lot of my favorite genres. And that's pretty much all I know about it right now. So yes, those are the 4 books that I will hopefully be reading this week. Hey everyone, it is now Friday. Now Friday, January 17th. And I'm just working from home today. I'm on my lunch right now, so I just figured I'd give y'all a little quick update. So last night I did actually finish Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, okay? I really enjoyed this. I think I'm gonna give it 4 stars. I'm taking a star off because I'm not obsessed with it, okay? So I feel like I usually try to only give 5 stars to books that I'm like obsessed with and know I would want to reread. This, I loved it, but I'm not like completely obsessed, if that makes sense. So I already told y'all a little bit about what this was about, but it wrapped up really well. I really enjoyed it. I would highly suggest it. Just go into it knowing that it's quite long and it does read very slow. So I mentioned before, I've been reading this since the fall, and I've just been reading like a little bit every now and then because for me, it's like one of those books where I couldn't just rush through it. Like, I could definitely read like, you know, something in the ACOTAR series that's 800 pages really fast. But this being 800 pages is different. Like, the writing style is just a lot different. And I really feel like if I'd gone any faster, I would have not been as interested anymore and not picked up on a lot of things because the writing's pretty dense. It is like a kind of a historical style because we're following people in the 1800s and there's like all this magic going on and like a lot of interesting interpersonal drama that is again in that like 1800s kind of style of talking. So for me, I really had to take it slow and just read like a chapter or 2 at a time in order to stay engaged. But for me, that worked really well. Like, to be honest, I think this is an amazing book. I do think that Susanna Clarke is an incredible writer. Her other book, Piranesi, I gave 5 stars, and that had just fabulous, beautiful writing as well. I do think she just came out with another book. Either she just came out with it or it's coming out soon. So I'm gonna have to look into that as well. But for me, her books are very much like wintertime reads because they tend to be like I said, that like kind of lyrical writing style, and then like with magical themes. For me, that just like fits winter really well. And also that's like usually when I'm in the mood for a slower read. So would recommend if you can deal with some slow writing and take your time. Now, I also read some more of Gothicana last night. I got to about 30% on my Kindle. I'm still feeling kind of meh about it. Like, the writing isn't my favorite, and I do feel like there's just so much going on with the plot that it's kind of losing me a little bit. Like, I just don't feel that excited about it. And I'm like, all this is going on, but it's not really captivating me. It's almost like distracting me how much is going on. However, we did get more of the romance developing, and though I will say that I find the male main interest kind of cringy, like Corvina, the like nickname she uses for him is the Silver-Eyed Devil, and that's just a little too much for me. Like, that just feels a little bit silly to me personally. However, their sexual tension is very, very good. And we didn't get much, but we got like a little bit of physical interaction where I was at yesterday, and it was hot, okay? So for that reason, I will be continuing to read because I need some more scenes between Corvina and Mr. whatever the hell his name is, Vad or something. So I will be continuing that. Hopefully I enjoy it a little bit more, but we'll see. I also am probably gonna start another physical book tonight. So the other ones I'm hoping to read in my TBR for the week are If We Were Villains and An Academy for Liars. I'm gonna see tonight what I'm feeling, and then, so not making any statement right now of which of those two I'll pick up next, but tonight I will choose, okay? So it's Friday night, and the rest of my day I'm just gonna be working from home, going to the gym, hanging out a little bit. Kind of want to play some Stardew Valley. I've not played that in a long time, but actually last night I started a new farm in it and I was having so much fun. And actually what made me want to start playing again is, if you've ever heard of the singer Soccer Mommy, I just listened to her new album release that had come out last year, but I didn't listen to it until yesterday. And one of the songs on it is called Abigail, and it's like themed after a character named Abigail in Stardew Valley. So that made me really want to play again. So probably gonna play some of that tonight and then do some reading. And then I'll check in with y'all tomorrow and see where we're at. Hello vlog. It is now Tuesday, January 21st. So I was not very good about updating you guys over the weekend. In fact, I went this whole long weekend without any updates, so I apologize about that. But I am still getting used to this whole vlogging thing. And quite honestly, I was having a little bit of a stressful weekend and just wanted to kind of relax. Not stressful in any sort of personal way. I just feel like the world is kind of uncertain and full of stress right now. So thank you for your understanding in advance about that. So I am now a little bit over halfway in If We Were Villains, and I'm definitely enjoying it, but I have some thoughts. So I won't really go too much more into what has happened at this point because I do not want to spoil anybody at all for the plot. I think I've gotten a little bit further than what is on the back of the book. But I can definitely see now the similarities between it and The Secret History. The plots are definitely not the same, but I do see the resemblance, and I feel like I'm enjoying it a lot, but I can't help but keep comparing it to The Secret History. I feel like it's just very similar, but a little bit less in depth, I feel like, than The Secret History is. Like, that book just like goes pretty deep into like the characters' inner worlds, or education, I suppose. And I think If We Were Villains is just definitely like a shorter, faster book, so it does not focus on those things as much, which can be good in some ways, but I feel like we're lacking a little bit of the depth that was in The Secret History. But it's definitely still interesting, and at this point, something really pivotal has happened in the plot. Something kind of tragic has happened to the group of friends, and at this point, we still don't know what has actually happened or like what is behind the events that have taken place. So I'm very excited to keep reading and see what is going on, like what is the source of this. And then I am now 80% of the way through Gothicana, and I have some very mixed thoughts on Gothicana. So I was telling you all before that I was not a huge fan of the writing style so far. That's definitely still the case. To be honest, a lot of it feels very cringe to me. I apologize if you are a big fan of Gothicana. Again, friends can disagree on things. I definitely don't mean anything bad by this, okay? So I'm just not really agreeing with the writing style. A lot of things have made me uncomfortable about it. However, it's easy to read. Like, I just keep reading it and I want to know what happens next. Despite the fact that I have issues with it, I'm still enjoying the experience of reading it, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like it's kind of addictive and I have to keep flipping to find out what happens next. And I feel like the spicy scenes are fairly good. To be honest, some of them are a little weird too, but some of them have been fun. So it's definitely keeping me reading, but I don't think it's gonna be highly rated at all by me. Yeah, there's just some awkward things and things that don't really make sense. And I know it's kind of like a paranormal book, but the things that don't make sense aren't even having to do with what's paranormal. But I do really like the main character, Corvina. She's like in her little witchy energy, and I love like the descriptions of her outfits. She's a fun character. I do like her, so that's fun. So before I make my lunch, I wanted to give y'all a little book haul because it's actually gonna be my birthday here this upcoming weekend. And I ordered myself some books as a little birthday treat. I'm trying not to order too many new books this year and really just focused mostly on buying used books. But for my birthday, I did decide to buy some, especially some that I feel like are a little harder to find, some of those more niche fantasy romance books. So I'll just give y'all a little haul. So I got Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. This was on my 25 for 2025 list, so I'm super excited to have it and be able to read it. I'm super obsessed with the cover. I think it's so beautiful, and it's definitely giving Valentine's Day vibes, so maybe I'll read this next month. Not quite sure. But this is following a character named Tisana. I believe that's how you say it. I'm not entirely sure. But Tisana was a slave and now has been released from slavery. And that's pretty much all I know based on what we see of our lovely main character on the front. I have a feeling it's going to be some sort of revenge arc. Maybe she becomes some kind of warrior or discovers magic. Not sure, but that's kind of what the cover is giving me. And I've heard that this is a phenomenal series, so I'm super excited to start it. Then I got the remaining books that are out in the Witchwalker series. Okay, so the first book in this series is The Witch Collector by Sharissa Weeks. I read this last year and really enjoyed it. I think I gave it 4 stars. It wasn't quite a 5-star, but it was very strong read. The fantasy world I thought was really well put together, and then the romance was super fun as well. So it was just a well-rounded romantasy book with a really fun plot. Basically, in this world, there is this witch collector who comes each year on a certain day to this village to collect one of the witches, and then they become basically servants of the kingdom. Our main character, Reina, she hates the witch collector mainly because her sister was previously taken by him, and she is plotting to murder him when he comes to their town. And that's all I'll say about it. I have a feeling you could probably guess like maybe where things go from there. So I ordered the second book, City of Ruin, which is, this is beautiful. And I've heard amazing things about this. I've heard that the plot twist in this book is absolutely insane and people are like feral for this book. So I'm really excited to have this one. And then I also got The Wolf and the Witch, which is book 3, I believe, and it's also a novella, so this one's a little bit shorter. And there is going to be a fourth book coming out in 2025, I believe. But now I have all of the ones that have come out thus far. So here we go, our Witchwalker series. Then just recently at the beginning of this year, I read on my Kindle Reign of Shadow and Endings by Melissa K. Rorick. And this is the first book in a dark fantasy romance series. And I really, really liked it. I don't know what to say. I just really liked it. Basically, this is about our main characters, Tessa and Theon. And Theon is what they call a legacy, which is kind of like this part fae, part god kind of creature. Basically, like they're the highest up in this society. And then Tessa is a fae. And in this world, fae basically serve the legacy and also like kind of feed their powers. So in the very beginning, this is not a spoiler, Theon, he is the heir of one of the kingdoms, so he's able to choose a source, a fae, which he will pull his magic, like pull magic from in order to strengthen his magic. And he chooses Tessa, which is the absolute least thing she wants. She does not want to be a source at all, okay? So this is definitely dark. I would hesitate to even say if there is any romance in this first book. It's pretty bleak. There's a lot of fighting between the two of them. This is like seriously enemies, okay? And like it's not even to lovers. It's just like they are enemies and then there is some tension there, but we don't really know what is actually between them and what is this source bond they make. Now, if you are going to read this, please look up the trigger warnings. I've seen a lot of Goodreads reviews of people absolutely hating this because they feel like there's a lot of abuse going on in this book, which I totally understand. There definitely is abuse going on in this book. But personally, the things that were depicted in this book were not a trigger for me and I really enjoyed it. And I feel like there's a lot of room for this plot to develop and also for the characters to develop and kind of just see how they change. So I really enjoyed it. I thought that like the morally grayness of it and the negative actions that these characters took was really interesting. So that was not off-putting to me. It was actually something that I really enjoyed about this book. So if you think that's something that you would enjoy as well, I would definitely give this series a try. But I ordered the physical copy because I loved it so much. And then I also got book 2, Storm of Secrets and Sorrow. And this one has a green cover, which is really pretty. I really like it. And then I also got book 3, Tempest of Wrath and Vengeance. And this is all the books that are out currently. I know there is a 4th one coming out this year. I am not sure if it's just going to be 4 books or if the series is going to continue further on. But I really, really loved the first book, so I am excited to continue. And I've seen a lot of people that love this series saying that it just keeps getting better and better and that especially this 3rd book is like phenomenal. So I'm very excited to have the series on my shelf and be able to continue. And again, I'm just really grateful to be able to buy myself some books for my birthday, and the rest of the year I'm hoping to mainly buy used books, but I feel grateful to have these ones that I don't think I would have been able to get physical copies of used on my shelves. So later today, I'm hoping to finish Gothicana, and I'm also hoping to finish If We Were Villains. And hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to give you an update on my rating and what I thought of those. And then probably either tonight or depending on how much time I spend reading, maybe tomorrow, I'll be able to jump into An Academy for Liars. So I will see y'all later. Hi vlog. It is, I think it's January 23rd. It is Thursday. So last night I finished If We Were Villains by ML Rio, and I really, really liked it. I think I'm going to give this one 5 stars. Unfortunately, I still keep holding this in my mind up against The Secret History and comparing the two, but I'm trying really hard not to let that affect my rating because ultimately I really did love this book and I had a great time. I think it's a fantastic book. But yeah, again, I feel like for me it is still 5 stars, but does not quite reach the level of The Secret History. That one's like an all-time favorite. This one is just a love, but not like a absolute best of all time book for me. But I did really love it. So maybe it is best of all time. I don't know, guys. I think I just heard people comparing the two and now I can't get that out of my mind. But this is actually so good. If you want dark academia, if you want theater kids who talk in Shakespeare quotes to each other constantly. If you want interpersonal drama between a group of like low-key kind of incestual friends, then you're gonna love this. So I have to get back to work now, but I will talk to you all soon once I start an Academy for Liars. Hello vlog, it is Friday, January 24th. Please excuse my no makeup face and how dirty my kitchen is, but I just wanted to check in because I'm having my birthday party tonight. I have some friends coming over, so I just finished making my cake and I want to show you guys because I'm pretty proud of it. So here she is. She is a chocolate chip cake with mocha frosting. And I am so excited to eat this later. I already tried the frosting and it's phenomenal. Hello vlog. It is now Monday, January 27th. So once again, I really did not vlog at all over the weekend, but I had a good excuse because it was my birthday weekend and I was very busy with lots of different celebrations. I had some friends over on Friday, had a little party, that was super fun. Went out, did lots of relaxing on Saturday, and then yesterday I did some stuff with my family. I'm chilling here with my sweet girl Nelly, and if I look tired, that is because I definitely am tired and also cold, hence again my long sleeve. But I'm just trying to stay upbeat. I'm feeling tired, having a hard time getting into the swing of the work week, but just trying to keep it pushing and stay positive. So I did, since I talked to you all last, I did start an Academy for Liars, and here is the naked hardback of the Evernight edition. Very stunning. It's like these elevator doors, which is pertinent to the book. So basically, this is following this girl named Lennon, and she basically like in the beginning like randomly gets this phone call from a payphone telling her she's been accepted to this university, Drayton University. I don't know, it's super random. So she's very confused, but she's going through like a really dark period in her life and having kind of an existential crisis. So she actually just goes for it and drives like across a few states to get to this place where this university is supposedly. And when she gets there, she gets like interviewed and has to take a test and finds out she gets into this university. And from there, she, goes into the campus. It's like a totally different world, basically. Like they enter into this elevator and then come out in, like they're in a totally different place than where she entered. It's very interesting. But basically it's like in this kind of like pocket realm almost, where it's like adjacent to our world, where you have to know how to get there through these elevators. And now that she's at Drayton, she and everyone else there are studying the art of persuasion. So basically they are people who have this gift of persuasion, of being able to convince others to do things. Some of them who are more advanced can even convince matter to do specific things. So basically it's kind of like they have like mind control powers, and some of them have like telekinesis and like all kinds of basically like psychic powers is what they are learning how to do. And Lennon, all the students, they have advisors, and on her first day during her test, she meets this guy named Dante who has like neck and hand tattoos, and he's like very brooding, and she becomes his advisee. He is her advisor, and he's like one of the most talented young professors in the whole school. Now at this point, I'm like halfway through. They're kind of into each other, but they're like, oh, we can't be together. And I think this is just one book, not a series. So at this point, I'm not sure if there's really gonna be a romance between them. There's like not really romance. There's like a little bit of like people have been like flirting and having hookups at this school, but it's more of like, that's just like the social life at the university. There's no like big romance going on, anything like that. It's kind of horror, so I can see why this was in the horror book subscription. But I would say it's more heavily fantasy and like dark academia fantasy. So it definitely has this like kind of magic going on that is adjacent almost to not being magic in that world. It's more like these people just have these abilities naturally. that they can then train further. But yeah, I mean, I'm liking it. It's certainly interesting. Like, there's been some high stakes stuff going on, so I've been wanting to learn more, but I'm not like super taken with the story, to be honest. I think the setting is cool. I think the characters have potential, but I haven't really gotten like super connected to them to a point where I'm like really hooked and turning the pages. I do hope to get a little bit more into it like as I go, because I mean, obviously I love this stunning edition and I feel like the story has so much potential. I'm just not obsessed. Like, if it were to end where it is right now, I feel like it'd be like maybe a 3.5 star. Like, I definitely really like it. Or I definitely like it, but it's not like, I'm not obsessed, and it's not like one of the best books I've read this year so far. But it's a fun time. So other than that, I'm just working today. I've been doing a lot of chores and working from home. I already went to the grocery store on my lunch break, doing some laundry. I really need to go to the gym, but I really don't want to, but I'm gonna try to convince myself to. Last week, I pretty much just like gave myself the whole week off of the gym and was like being very lazy. Once again, because of my birthday week, I was like, it's my birthday week. I don't have to do anything hard. But now I kind of feel like shit because I've been eating cake and eating out every day. And I bought a bunch of vegetables today and I'm like, it's time for some salad, girl. That's what we need. We need to go to the gym and we need to eat some salad. And then I'm going to feel great tomorrow. Okay. I can tell you already. So hopefully I do those things and then read some more of this tonight and get a little further, hopefully maybe finish it, and then we can finish off this vlog, because at this point, it's been 2 weeks. Sorry vlog, I'm not very good at vlogging, but we're learning it as we go. Hello everyone, it is Tuesday, January 28th, and I just wanted to give y'all a quick update on An Academy for Liars. So I have just finished this book during my lunch break, and I really liked it. I think I'm gonna be giving it a 4 star. Since I last talked to you, the stakes were definitely up. We kind of like found out what our main character, Lennon, like what she was being trained for. And it was dramatic as hell, okay? I was not expecting that. It was crazy. And it was one of those endings where it just went so fast paced. And I was kind of like, what's going on? Like, how are we doing these things? There were some questions of mine that were a little bit unanswered. And that's, I think, why it's a 4 star and not a 5 star, because I did really like this. I thought it was a super unique story. I really liked the characters. I really liked the interactions between the characters. I really liked the world and kind of like their magic system. And I liked how a lot of the characters were kind of morally gray, like this power persuasion that they were learning definitely led them to make some choices that were like at times not the best, but like they were really just doing kind of like what they felt like they had to do. And I always think it's interesting when books include something like that, kind of questioning like what is good and bad and like where do I draw that line. So I thought that was super interesting. But yeah, some of the questions were unanswered a little bit for me at the end, and then I just didn't have like the strongest ties to our characters. So yes, 4 star. I do think this is interesting that this was chosen for the Evernight book box, because to me, it wasn't really a horror strongly. I feel like it definitely had horror elements and parts of it that were a little spooky, scary, but I definitely felt like it was more heavily dark academia, which is what this vlog was intending for. So we really hit the nail on the head with this. It was definitely dark, it was definitely academia, it was definitely fantasy too. So I would highly recommend this. I think that you would have a fun time reading this book, and I think it's just super unique. So that is it for my very first reading vlog. Thank you all for joining me, and I will talk to you all soon with another video.